Joe Rogan has come out today and said that our elites are destroying England and that they're getting away with it. And I've got to say, I'm offended. I mean, has he not listened to any of our politicians recently? Or the BBC, because I get all my news from them, and they all think England is great. Like this ex-Tory minister, Edwina Currie. I personally think everyone should take her lead and just stop panicking. You see, Edwina isn't worried about rising crime, skyrocketing taxes, our crumbling public services, or the fact that we're becoming a minority in our own country. All of which, by the way, were largely brought on by her party from mass immigration. But no, she isn't worried about any of those things. She's more concerned about our government building brothels near asylum seeker accommodation to stop the foreign criminals who just broke into our country from raping the locals.
The obvious thing that 1,200 young men are going to need in the middle of a village like Little Piddington is a brothel. I don't think they're going to provide that. I have a feeling that's not going to be allowed.
Yeah, I'm very rarely shocked anymore by the sheer arrogance and flippant attitude of ex-politicians who have had a hand in destroying our country. But this one has really got to me. I mean, if I had anything to do with the sheer damage the Tory party has inflicted on our nation, I'd be ashamed to show my face in public. In fact, I'd probably become an alcoholic and try and drown my guilt and shame away. But to be fair, I am a natural person with human emotions, whereas these people are sociopathic narcissists who don't have a conscience. So I don't know why I expect any sort of contrition from these absolute traitors. But yeah.
It's like someone's trying to destroy England. It's literally like they've got a concerted effort to destroy England, and they're getting away with it.
Yeah, and what happens over there?
It's really crazy. It's really crazy to watch, because the mass immigration's not an accident. If I was going to destroy a country, I would do it exactly the way they're doing it. I'd take away their freedom, take away their ability to protest, take away their guns, which they did in the 90s, and then you start tightening that noose. Tighter and tighter, add more restrictions, more this, more that.
I mean, we're getting closer.
And just the arresting people. When you arrest 12,000 people for social media posts, you don't just arrest people for social media posts. You change people's ability to post about things because of fear. So they self-censor. So you don't even... You're hitting them with, like... This one guy who complained about... There's a famous video where this fucking idiot in a wig. He's one of them judges, and they wear the wigs, the white powdered wigs. Yeah. And he's sentencing this guy for 20 months for social media posts that are normal. Like normal complaints about mass immigration of illegals from other countries that aren't assimilating and that they believe are ruining their society, which there's a real argument for. And that's what online discourse is supposed to be about, like having conversations. Like I'm voicing my concern for the way society is running right now because of what's happening, and no one's doing anything about it, and no one's protecting anybody. It's nuts, man.
Any time in human history that would be called an invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe, unfortunately, it's not that someone is trying to destroy England. It's that someone has already destroyed England. And it's not a mystery who they are either. I'll actually list them here. So Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, David Cameron, Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Rishi Sunak, Keir Starmer, and Andy Burnham. Oh, and also their cabinet. So 24 cabinet members for Blair, 10 for Brown, 29 for Cameron, 24 for May, 23 for Starmer, and 23 for Burnham. Now there are going to be some duplicates in there, so let's just round that down to about 120 people, and then let's add another 300 people for every permanent secretary since Tony Blair. So that's basically every single person at a high level responsible for destroying our country. See how easy that is? It's really that simple. Less than 500 people have made our country the way it is. I mean, it's such a small group, you could actually fit them all in one wing of a prison. And let's just have a look at some of the fruits of their labour. just from today.
Thousands of asylum seekers could swarm a picturesque Yorkshire village, with women being left outnumbered 6-1 if a Labour plan goes through. The government are trying to move nearly 4,000 asylum seekers into 3 former military sites, all on the doorstep of tiny, quaint British villages. Andy Burnham has said more affluent areas need to play their part and take in asylum seekers, and a Home Office minister has admitted that housing migrants in poorer areas has led to civil unrest. But fears are escalating as the government looks at plans to formally open up wealthier parts of the UK to asylum seekers.
But of course, if you're upset about British women being flooded 6-1 with foreign criminals who just broke into our country, then other immigrants we never voted for or consented to having in our country to begin with will call a local man trying to stop this asylum seeker site from going ahead a racist, and then lie to the whole country by claiming that there's no evidence of any of them committing any crime on our national TV.
The Burnham thing is that we've got to put them in places where there are middle-class people as well. That's what Burnham says.
Look, first of all, I think we have to bear in mind the people, we're talking about human beings, right, who have often, when they're claiming asylum, are coming to this country escaping war, persecution, famine, all sorts of difficult circumstances. And I just think we have to be far more careful in the way that we talk about these people, particularly when we use language like illegal immigrants. They're not illegal. Their mode of entry might be illegal, but they're currently going through an asylum process.
They're leaving a safe country to come here.
Yeah, but there's a million and one reasons why they might be leaving a safe country to come here.
Explain to Tim why he has even any kind of duty at all to live near a barracks with them in.
Well, look,
Explain to him.
The reality is they're not allowed to work, right? So as their asylum process is being claimed, they're not allowed to work. So we have a duty to house them, at least, because we're not giving them the ability to work and pay rent, for example. And so one of the things I'd say to you is, look, there is no evidence currently. I understand you've been somewhere and you've spoken to people, and those concerns I want to take seriously, but we can't make policy based on anecdotes and individual experiences. The reality is there is no evidence whatsoever that there is any link between crime and safety and immigration at all.
Tim.
It doesn't exist, right? So in terms
Let Tim
of
come in
worries
then.
about safety, there is no evidence that exists. And we have a duty to look after these
Tim,
people.
you've got to break in here.
Well, I have to tell you right now, you go and learn directly from Germany, Austria, Netherlands. They've just produced a European global report on this, and they're identifying, you're right, I accept you, the mass of the individuals are generally excellent, good human beings. But unfortunately, there's a small proportion, and there is a small proportion, who are on the cusp of not getting the asylum acceptance, who will actually behave as a nuisance, a massive nuisance. And that is really, that accounts for everything, sadly. I don't have to put up with it right now, so why do I have to put up to it in 3 months' time when it's going to come? Why do I have to give my life up for that?
Well, you're admitting that it's a small minority to begin with. That small minority should be dealt with by the police and by law enforcement as it does with any minority.